Today we're going through the WWE and AEW roster, telling you how each one of these characters would vote in the upcoming presidential election. My name's Michael. Welcome to Suplex. Today we're going to look at the WWE and AEW rosters. I'll be telling you how the champions and some future challengers will be voting in character in the 2024 elections. Let's get it started with the WWE roster. First, starting off with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Look, I know that Cody Rhodes is dressed essentially like a stage you would see at a Trump campaign. A lot of red, white, and blue. There's a lot of shiny things that don't need to be shiny here. There's a lot of bad bleach blonde hair. Having said that, Cody Rhodes as a character always seems to stand up for what's right, and I think that he wouldn't necessarily see the good in a billionaire like Donald Trump. Remember, he is the son of a plumber. He's the son of a plumber. He's the grandson of a plumber. And I don't think Cody Rhodes I just don't think Cody Rhodes is going to vote for elite billionaire. So I'm going to say Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, be voting for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Now, on to Gunther. Now, immediately, I'm going to say Gunther is going to vote for Donald Trump. Would I need to go any further? I know, I joke, I kid. But seriously, I think that Gunther has opinions, and I think that those opinions are very conservative in nature. How he treats wrestling, how he views wrestling as a sacred, art form. Gunther Gunther is big on an authoritarian. Like he likes that. He would see Trump as a strong man and would easily vote for Donald Trump. Liv Morgan, moving on to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, little different. She's a little spacey sometimes. She can be a little odd, and I think for that reason, I think Liv Morgan would actually vote for Jill Stein. Yeah, they both had like this they both seem they really like crystals. I don't think I need to go beyond that in an explanation, but I feel like they'd both be at home at a fancy rock store. Not moving on to the WWE Women's Champion here, Nia Jax. Nia Jax, big, strong, powerful. She respects like a strong authoritarian, big. I don't know. I could see her going either way on this. I could see her going with Trump because the projection of strength and power, but I also see that Nia Jax is not like most girls. So what that means is I believe the character of Nia Jax wouldn't vote like most girls and is gonna vote for Donald Trump. Yeah, there you go. Moving on to Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker strikes me as a guy who wouldn't vote as the character, right? I just don't see him getting into it. I don't see him he's got to go to the gym. He doesn't have time to go and vote. I think he just abstains, either that or I think the character Braun Breaker would get upset and maybe punch a poll worker. There's no in between with that guy. Moving on to LA Knight, who is the United States champion. He's the champion of the United States. And I don't think LA Knight would think any of these two dummies are good enough for the job. I don't think he would think anybody on the entire presidential ballot is good for the job. And there's only one person that LA Knight would be voting for. That's LA Knight. Edit it out there. Moving to Andrade, he is the Speed champion. Unfortunately, Andrade is only allowed to vote on Twitter, so he's going to vote in an Elon Musk Twitter poll about that, which some pundit is going to use as oh, you see, that's what America thinks. Yeah, he would vote on a Twitter poll. Same with Candice LeRae. I'm sorry, you both don't get to vote. You don't get to wrestle on television with your belts. Then you don't get to vote. I don't make the rules. Constitution does. Strictly laid out in the United States Constitution. Take it up with Thomas Jefferson. Moving on to our tag teams here. Let's go Finn Balor, JD McDonough. First of all, JD McDonough's head's too big. He's not getting into the polling booth, right? I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, Finn does strike me as somebody who's a little counterculture, who's against the grain, maybe somebody who wants to shake things up, vote for somebody different. And as we've seen, he's obviously part of Judgment Day, and they turn on Damian Priest, obviously showing he does not have very good judgment. So I think he's going to vote for RFK Jr. Yeah, RFK Jr. is still on the ballots. I voted today. He was still on there. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot you're still here. Finn Balor totally would vote. I think both of them. I think whatever Finn does, JD's going to do. So there you go. Moving on to the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, look, these guys are very proud about being from Detroit. I know a fair amount of people from Detroit. Shout out to you absolute goons up into the Northern Guard up there. I've never forgotten about you all. Anyways, they're very proud. They're very proud to be from Detroit, and I feel like if you were a conservative, you wouldn't be proud to be from Detroit, because they always talk about how bad Detroit is. When Trump said, he said, everybody's going to be like Detroit. If Kamala wins, it's all going to be Detroit. I think the Motor City Machine Guns are going to take that personally. I think they're voting for Kamala. And I say that not just because Trump has crapped on the city of Detroit, but they think Detroit being everywhere would be awesome. So that's what they're voting on. They're like, Trump said that everywhere would be Detroit. Kamala wins. I'm in. Like, that's the end of the discussion. Also, I'm glad that they're in WWE. Shout out to them being the champs too. Crazy, right? Crazy that's what we're talking about in 2024 is the Motor City Machine Guns just debuted in WWE, and like a handful of hours later, like a couple hundred hours later, they're the tag team champions. Good job, guys. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I think that these two women are trying to set a precedence in the WWE, especially Bianca Belair. She's been so many firsts in the WWE. I don't think that there's anything else that these two women would like to do except see the first female president, the first female president of color as the president of the United States. I'm saying that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill voting for Kamala Harris. Let's see. That I was just doing the main roster. I don't watch NXT, so nothing wrong with NXT. I just don't watch it. Let's see. Yeah, AJ Styles. Look, as a character, I'm not sure. As a man, AJ Styles apparently thinks the world's flat. Draw your own conclusions. Let's see. Who else would be? Oh, The Rock. The Rock makes too much money. The Rock is not voting Democrat. He just won't. Also, The Rock is a bad guy, so keep that in mind. Roman Reigns would not care. He is above the government. He strictly does not care about this election, as he is bigger than the government of the United States of America. Let's see. Who else would be? Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is maybe going to be a felon, so he can't vote. Let's see who else we got. Carlito would show up on the wrong day. He's just, he misses stuff. He's not on top of it. Actually, you know what? Carlito would still vote for Joe Biden. He doesn't understand that Joe dropped out a while ago. He heard about the election 9 months ago. He's like, okay, cool. I'll just vote for Biden. And then he's going to write that in later. CM Punk, the character, going to vote for Kamala Harris. CM Punk, the man, is going to vote for Kamala Harris. It's easy one. Easy one. Grayson Waller would write. Grayson Waller would write in whatever the meme was. 10 years ago, it was like writing Kanye West for president. Whatever's like the big one this year, he'd write that in. Lexus King would vote for whoever Joe Rogan said to vote for. Like that's what the character would do. He would be really into whatever Joe Rogan had to say or whatever his favorite podcast had to say. Uh, Logan Paul, the character, might be listening to his brother. If you haven't seen him talk about that, that's a whole nother issue. Let's see. Rhea Rip. Look, for Rhea Ripley, I don't think there's any way Rhea would vote for Donald Trump. Just as like she's very punk rock, she's gothic, and Donald Trump is not punk rock. I mean, Kamala Harris really isn't. She was a cop, so I just don't think that she would. I think she might abstain for personal reasons. And the last one from the WWE is we're going to talk about is Damian Priest. Look, Damian Priest is from the island of Puerto Rico, and given the things that have been recently said about the island of Puerto Rico, I don't think Damian Priest would vote for Donald Trump. Also, having said that, the match he just lost that match on Monday. Puerto Rico got, what was it? Tony Hinchcliffe said that stuff on the weekend. That next Monday he loses to Dominic Mysterio. Triple H, you got to read the room, Breb. Triple H, you got to read the room on that one. Puerto Rico just taking L after L, man. I like Puerto Rico. I actually been there. My dad used to work in Puerto Rico. We'd go down there all the time. Beautiful island. Oh, okay. Let's go to the AEW one too. AEW's website, by the way, for their roster page, is bad. It's awful. It's not as nice as WWE's. It's just, you'll see. It's not very good. If I can say one thing about AEW that I dislike, it's this roster. Because, like, watch this. And I know, I've talked about this previously, but watch what happens when I click on Damian Priest here. Oh, nice picture. Damian Priest. Okay, another picture. Oh, a little bio. Oh, I can continue reading. Oh, wow. There's a lot of words written about Damian Priest. If I didn't know about Damian Priest, look, I can learn about Damian Priest right here. So when I go to learn about, let's see, Alex Reynolds, click on Alex Reynolds. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. When I go and I hover over somebody, it just makes them slightly bigger. Slightly bigger. Slightly bigger. It's terrible website. All right, let's go through AEW's roster here now as well. Starting off with the champion, Jon Moxley. I think that Moxley would not vote. I think he would just not vote for anyone that he doesn't think he could beat up. Like, if he couldn't beat you up, he would vote for you. But since he can beat you up, he ain't voting for you. Moxley strikes me as like the anarcho. He's definitely an anarchist. So Moxley's not voting at all. Going on to Mariah May. Mariah May is going to do whatever is beneficial to Mariah May. She would totally say, she's like, I'm totally voting for Kamala. I can't do an Australian accent. Like, that's as close as I get, right? But she would secretly vote for Trump. She's like, I love him. He is kind of a zesty queen, and that's what I love about him. That's why she would vote for him. She would vote for him because he's funny in like in kind of like a, I don't know, he's funny in a zesty way. Trump is pretty zesty. So she would vote for him for that reason. And then, but she would like also, every time he does something bad, she'd be like, I can't believe I can't believe people voted for him. I can't believe he's president. Secretly, she's just like, ha, 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 ha. That would be her. On to Mercedes Moné. Mercedes Moné, the character, is going to vote for Kamala Harris. I believe that because she is always looking to make a statement, looking to shake things up, and that's let's just be honest. She doesn't. I don't think she would. I think she would think that a woman would do the job better than Donald Trump or any other man, and I just think that I don't think she's wrong in that case. But Mercedes Moné would totally vote for Kamala Harris. Private Party. Let's see. I think Private Party would vote strictly on the vibes of the two candidates' events. You know, watching that Madison Square Garden one, they like had some comedians, had some guy for Donald Trump, had some comedians, had some guys yelling some crazy stuff. Kamala Harris had Beyonce. Seems like more fun. Megan the Stallion was at one too. Oh, that's pretty cool too. Does Private Party like Mumford and Sons? Mumford and Sons was there. Okay, yeah, that's a better vibe. I think they're voting. They're strictly vibes based, and they would vote for Kamala Harris. Konosuke Takeshita is an evil. I think he 100% would vote for Donald Trump. And the reason I say that, the character Konosuke Takeshita, hard for me to say, I was educated in, wants to inflict pain and suffering. He is, when the Joker said in The Dark Knight, some men just want to watch the world burn, he's that type of guy. He doesn't care. He wants people to be in pain. He wants your material station in life to be worse than it was, and he believes that Donald Trump is the man for that job. He's voting for Donald Trump. Jack Perry. Jack Perry is really going to vote for his self-interest. And I think he would vote Donald Trump too. He believes he would believe the same things that Trump believes. Oh, people are just trying to scapegoat him. January 6th wasn't his fault. He's just misunderstood. As a misunderstood man myself, as I am Jack Perry, I feel the same way. I think he would do that. He would definitely do that. And also, like, Jack Perry likes that. Like, Trump likes to start shit. Jack Perry likes that. This is a hilarious picture of the Blackpool Combat Club. The Blackpool Combat Club, in this sense, is going to follow whatever John Moxley says at the fear of being beaten. So the Blackpool Combat Club is not voting. They are apolitical. The only thing they care about is beating people up in, apparently right now, trying to make AEW better. Kazuchika Okada, hands down a Trump man. The bleach blonde hair, the dye job. He drives a Ferrari. He always shows how opulent he is. And there's only one thing that this Kazuchika Okada cares about, and that's money. And he makes over that $400,000, so he doesn't get hit by the Trump taxes and stuff. So he's good to go with Donald John Trump. Who else? Hangman Adam Page. Damn, dude, that's a tough one. The character of Hangman Adam Page has always been for workers' rights and unions and unionizing and things like that. But this Hangman seems to be like a jaded... He's jaded because everything that's happened to him, which is kind of understandable. But in this sense, Hangman Adam Page has become one of those guys who's been like radicalized through bad things happening to him. So like Hangman Adam Page, this character, this version of Hangman Adam Page would be voting for Donald Trump because he is so angry at the world and he thinks that that's the best way to get at him. Chris Jericho. Let's talk about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, as an individual, as a person, we might know a little bit about him. Might know a little bit of how he feels about politics. You know, he's a pretty outspoken guy. Now, the character of Chris Jericho, I feel, would still vote himself for president. And the reason I say that is Chris Jericho thinks America needs to sit under the learning tree and learn just a little bit from him. I mean, he is an undisputed champion. He's a 9-time world champion, current ROH champion. The United States could learn a few things from Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho feels that same way. Eddie Kingston would vote for anybody except Donald Trump. Eddie Kingston seems like he would fight that man in the streets. Those two guys come from drastically different parts of New York. And I feel like they would have friction. Now, and I also feel like Eddie Kingston would be someone like myself who struggles pronouncing Kamala's name correctly. I probably pronounced it like 6 different ways in this video because I'm just a shotgun approach. I'm not good at talking. But he would be like, Kamala. He wouldn't be able to get it, but his intent would be there, and that's what matters. And we miss you, Eddie. I didn't even come to think of that. Just a second, I was like, there you have it. That's how I think all of these wrestlers would vote in character. Remember, this is about the character they portray on television. Now, the people behind the scenes could be drastically different, and I don't know their political leanings. Speaking of political leanings, no matter how you feel about our current system or the people who are running for president, make sure your voice is heard this election. Early voting is going on now, and election day is just around the corner. Make sure your voice is heard if you are able to. Thank you so much for watching this and everything here at Suplex Media. And as always, please, please, please remember, pro wrestling is predetermined. Your life isn't. Go do something great today. See you next time.